So just started on the old AE92 tonight. Pulled the radiator out. She's all over there against the wall. Just starting to pull this loom out. Taking all the sensors off. And stripping all that out slowly. Yes, I'll basically strip all the wiring out and drop the gearbox out as if I was doing a clutch, and then pull the engine out. So I've got all the loom all removed from all around the intake manifold and down to the T-vis. So I'm basically left with just this pile of wires for everything. I still got to do the starter motor, but disconnect the big huge battery wire which goes to the boot obviously. And then I'm going to obviously undo the plugs in the inside and thread them through, and then pull the whole entire loom out. So I'm only left with the engine and gearbox. So I've just removed all the glove box and all this area, so I've got access to the wiring loom that comes through. I'm thinking this might be a little bit easier than planned, because obviously I pulled these plugs out of the ECU. There's these two which go directly into the ECU, and then there's this one here which goes up to the dash, which is only 7 wires. So hopefully when it comes to obviously doing a swap, all I've got to do is obviously swap those wires into the other plug or something like that, so it's not too hard. So hopefully that's as easy as it's going to be. Just pulling up the wiring loom. Just disconnected the speedo wire here, cable. I'm just trying to feed this out. Hopefully we can have a full loom out. That's the end of the loom. It goes to the computer. And the other plugs that go up into the dash. All the wiring loom is now out. So it's basically just the engine with water lines, which just got to disconnect from obviously the heater. Radiator's out. Fairly easy. It's only taken probably about an hour to get to this stage. Disconnected all the power steering pipes. Yeah, obviously just drained it all out. It just naturally flowed out and emptied all the reservoir out, which is good. Also just disconnected all the linkages for the gear shifters. Obviously took the thermostat out. So pretty much the gearbox all disconnected, besides taking the starter motor out once the extractors are pulled off. It's going to be the next step. Obviously I've just jacked the car up and put on the axle stands. Just taking the wheels off. Thought it'd be a better chance to look at the brake upgrade that I've done. So as you can see, it's got the 2-pot calipers, which I've painted up a bit different. See the 2 pots there. I simply actually made a pattern when I was doing it and just marked out on the pattern all these dimple marks and just drilled them all out. It's a bit of a DIY upgrade. And these are the MR2 braided brake lines. As you can see, the actual, obviously the mount that goes to the struts in a different place, but if you're wanting another idea of how to mount them, I actually went to the, I guess you'd call it Wrecker, and any Honda like Civics and Integras, they got these little brackets which hold the brake lines, which you can actually use for these, and then just simply just hold it, and I've got a cable tie on each side to stop it from moving, but it's been like that for years and it's been fine. So you can actually yeah, just mount it however you want, any angle, bend it, whatever, and it works fine, sweet as. Just has JMX springs in at the moment on these just factory struts, but obviously got the coilover suspension as well. But yeah, it's become about almost the fun part, from the gearbox out. Fairly clean up there. Pull the header pipes out. Bit of a technique. Just one piece, 4 under one, and pop through over the cross member. Everything's all stripped, pretty much. Just all I've got to do now is pull out the drive shafts and then pull out the centre subframe, and then hopefully just drop this gearbox off, because everything else is all detached. Engine will come out nicely, quite nice and simple. I just dropped it on the ground in the engine bay, and then just popped off the gearbox, and then just lifted it straight out of the top. Fairly straightforward. Goodbye, Mr. 16 valve. Come on, Mr. 20 valve, time for you to come out. Right, here we go, got the old Levin in the shed. Ready to start dismantling it and pulling everything out. So I can pull the engine out, obviously. Let's go into this one. Just dumped all the coolant, well, was no coolant, just water outside in the driveway. Pulled out a few other little bits and pieces, so it's nice and easy. So we get stuck into it. So I've got the wiring loom out now. It's a little bit more harder than that one, obviously. So much more plugs, bits and pieces to unplug and disconnect. Getting there slowly. Got the power steering all just draining out. Right, got everything all disconnected now. Let's put this hook on from the 16 valve, because there's no hook on the front. Yeah, had a bit of an issue trying to get it out the drive shaft, with the half shaft out from the driver's side, but finally got there. But yeah, everything's all disconnected. Lovely and oily. Just got to hook the engine crane on and up she goes. Well, down there now. Just got the engine on the ground, popped the gearbox off. Now the clutch looks like it's fairly new, despite all the crap that's all over everything else. Most of it's from a CV boot that's gone, and a bit from the distributor, obviously. Pulls out the top and pop it down the ground to rest for the night. So I got the engine all up on the engine stand now, all looking nice and pretty. Been masking up all the fittings, because tomorrow I'm going to degrease the whole lot and water blast it. Obviously you can see it's pretty gunky from under just the distributor. There's a lot in there just by the oil filter. Obviously that's all caked on everywhere. And after that I'm going to obviously get new seals and everything like that. Water pump, cam belt, all the main seals, and so it obviously doesn't leak anymore. Engine's all dry now after all the water blasting and degreasing. It's come up pretty well, to be honest. Taking off all that oily crap that was on there. Still a bit of staining and everything, but far better than what it was. So I've just been cleaning off all this flange all around the bottom of the block there. So I plan to obviously reseal it. Just cleaning off all this glue. Quite tough, some of it. And I've got to do obviously the sump down there. I've just cleaned it all out with a bit of degreaser at the moment. I've got to re-clean it, get all this residue off, and then stick it on. Sump on now. I've flipped the engine back around. Just loosened this nut. But sometimes if you're at home you find it a bit hard to get the old pulley off. I just did the old DIY. Got some hunks of metal, took a couple bolts, and just screw this in just so it's a bit loose, and then put these on either side and crank them up, and then it pulls the pulley off. All nice and clean now. Just been degreasing and brake cleaning all the oil and filth off. Just gonna pluck these seals out, clean out where the water pump goes in. So I can put a new seal in. And yeah, put new idler, tensioner and belt back on. I've just been cleaning up my C52 gearbox out of the red Corolla. Just gave it a good degrease and a bit of a water blast just to get all the grime off. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to take to a guy to swap out the open diff for this Torsen LSD. I would do it myself, but I'm not too confident in splitting open my gearbox. Yeah, she's all had it stored under the bench for a while. Get the Torsen, all the gears. So hopefully it goes well. And then obviously I'm going to use the AE91 drive shafts. I'm not using C56 because second and third gear are pretty crunchy, and these ones are super smooth, so I might as well use the good box. So I'm deciding that I'm going to take this battery tray out, purely because I've got the battery in the boot. So yeah, just going to drill out all these spot welds all around, just with a little drill bit first, and then I've got this one that's from work which is quite flat, and then you purely just drill through each weld just through the thickness of the metal and then pull it off and then clean up the area and just a little bit of paint. So no more battery tray now, so a nice clean rail, obviously quite red compared to the old paint, but hopefully it should dull up quite a bit once there's a bit of oil and grease and heat going in the engine bay. So today I got the old phone call to say my gearbox is all ready. The LSD in it, a Torsen LSD. It's my boy Bailey. So hello.
Hello.
So yeah, it's all been split apart. Cannot see through there now. It's the old single spinner, open diff. Yeah, I was pretty stoked. He split it apart, installed it, and yeah, obviously put it back together. And it cost $250. So yeah, now let the fun installation begin. I've removed all the air conditioning off my engine, and I've actually stolen this bracket and the tensioner for the belt off my 16 valve, purely because it doesn't have the air conditioning, and it's an easier way of sorting that issue out. I've seen a few people online trying to make up their own brackets because they don't have the proper bracket. But I've noticed this pulley's got a bit of play in it, so I've just got a new bearing to replace the middle here. I actually had the same issue with my 3AGEED Caldina. It had like a bit of a grumbling noise, so I replaced that and made it all quiet, and quite a cheap fix. Cost like $6-7 for the bearing, and all your noises go away. So it's nice and easy to get out. Just got circlip pliers, hook into the little hooks and squeeze it together, and it should pop out. Sometimes you've got to take a few attempts. Here we go. Just had to take this away and smash it out with the vise. Just had to put a punch in the middle and pop it out because it's pretty tight. But as you can see, it's all nice and clean still in there. Brand new bearing. I've got a specialised bearing punch. I can't put the bolt on the end because obviously the hole's too small, but just delivers equal load over the whole bearing. And she's in. Bit of vibrations. Right, here we have all the belts on. It's got me a brand new Gates belt for the alternator. This one here is alright, it wasn't cracked like the other ones. You want to tighten it up so you can only just sort of half turn it around like that. Otherwise it's too loose, obviously you know it's not going to work properly. If it's too tight, well, it's not good either. So this is pretty much part one of this episode. Part 2 will be obviously doing the rest of all this fitting, all the wiring obviously. Start that, and it's not as easy as I was expecting. Slowly just working through my list. There'll be probably extra things that come up as well, but that's for now. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.